Well, here we go. Nice to see you again, guys. Welcome to this another episode of the Escape 95 show. Welcome, everyone. Welcome wherever you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Well, anywhere you are, you're welcome. We're doing this episode every single week, and we interview experts, we interview entrepreneurs, and we try to understand what they do and how they done it. Today, I'm going to be here. I'm going to interview Michelle Maree. She explained to me how to pronounce her name in the correct way before this interview. So Michelle Maree, actually, and she's I got it right. She is the founder of the Nomad Escape. And Michelle, thank you very much for joining this show and accepting my invitation.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Okay, so let's start talking about you because maybe there is someone watching this episode and they don't know what you do and who you are. So if you can explain to us what you do and how you reach this part of your career, go on.
Sure. Well, thank you first for having me. I'm very excited and also about your community, how you've been inspiring people. And I'm doing actually a little bit the same as you, but then physically with people together. So basically, so my name is Michelle. I'm the founder and the CEO of the Nomad Escape. We host business and network events for online entrepreneurs, digital nomads, remote workers, where they come together a few times a year to work on a personal and professional development together. We also expanded now to an online community where we have the Escapers Club, it's called, where people also come online for the same purposes. And basically my why of the Nomad Escape is that I started myself as a starting digital nomad about 5 years ago. And I started as a digital marketer, traveling around the world, got my first clients, which was awesome and great. Lived in Bali, lived a whole digital nomad lifestyle, finding out that it can become quite lonely and isolating when you are working solo on your business or building up your business and you don't have a physical team around you. Even though you are in co-working spaces or co-living spaces, it can become sometimes quite isolating. You miss then the right people to brainstorm with. Normally, when you work for a company, you have a team or a manager that you reach out to, like, hey, I'm stuck with this. Can we talk? And now I didn't have that. And while I was living the whole amazing digital nomad lifestyle, I started feeling isolated and started talking with a lot of people about my feeling around that. And I found that a lot of people also experience that. And basically, based on these results with the conversation with the other people and on my feeling at that moment, I was like, hey, why don't I start something for people like me? And here we are now, 3.5 years later. I have a company with 7 people working with me in the team. I've hosted 25 business and network retreats. I have a community of about 1,000 people who are pretty connected with each other. And always the result is when people join us is mostly they start collaborating together and building businesses together or start inspiring each other. And the whole purpose is growing and supporting each other.
Got it. So you created everything that you have right now in 3 years. Am I
Correct.
Am I right?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
3 years.
Yes,
It's
that's correct.
incredible. You got all of this, all the community and all the events that you're organizing in just 3 years is impressive. Really,
Thank
congratulations
you.
for what you did because passing from the situation you explained, so working on by yourself, and I understand when you say that you feel lonely and you feel, I don't know, you feel that you are the only person there in that situation, and that you realize that there are so many other people that are in the same situation you were, but they're not aware of that.
Yeah.
And passing from this to organizing events and having the kind of community that you have right now, it's really, really, really impressive in 3 years. So explain to us how you do it, how you did it, because
Mhm.
you started as a designer, if I got it right. you
Yes.
you okay.
Well, I am very known for I had kind of like every job you can imagine. I did literally everything. I studied education and social work, so that is originally that like my studies. I have a bachelor in education, and after that I moved to South America, to Suriname, a very unknown country, former Dutch colony above Brazil, where I ended up working more in the corporate world and in business. I became a director of an educational institute of security and safety risk management trainings, and it was very formal. Basically, it was really cool. I was 26, and I was suddenly a director. I flew into the rainforest with helicopters and gold mines to educate people there. And I really loved it because it was still education, but it was also very formal. And while I was a lot in the rainforest for my work, but also in the weekends, we had the pure Amazon rainforest. My eye fell on wood, on tropical hardwood, and I started collecting wood. Actually, every time I went to the rainforest, I brought it back home, and I started designing things. And I found out then that I love branding and I love marketing. Had no study for it or design, and I just made some, I don't know, like some logo, and I made my first designs, and then people started seeing it and like, hey, I want to buy it. It was never my intention to sell it, but then I started selling, and I started a Facebook page, and I started doing exhibitions, and even the National Art Fair with the biggest artists there, which I respect a lot. They invited me, and I was like, okay, cool. I have this talent as well, and that was really cool because I combined art with like really design and marketing. Because I really developed the brand, and the whole purpose was to inspire people to work more consciously with wood, and reuse wood, and not just import stuff from IKEA into an area where you have the most beautiful wood in the world. So yeah, there basically I discovered my passion for design and arts and everything that is creative, but still focus on social impact and educating people, because I worked also a lot with students who saw what I was doing, and they got very inspired by the artworks that I made, and being more, like aware of using these materials. And yeah, basically I did that. And then after that I moved to Australia, where I realized, okay, I want to keep on doing my art and work with wood, but it was impossible because you need a woodworking place. You need literally saws and all the tools, etc., because I had a big working space as well. It's impossible. And I started collecting wood actually in Australia, and I started filming it. But Australia is very strict with the regulations comparing to South America. So I got a lot of like criticism of the Dutch girl who was like collecting wood out of protected area. So I couldn't do that
Wow.
anymore. But I still was super, super, like, yeah, I don't know, intrigued with marketing and brand development. And that is where I kept on continuing my skills. I taught myself how to basically, yeah, design online, build WordPress, doing Facebook ad campaigns, doing everything that had to do with marketing. And yeah, from that route, from education to design to marketing and travel and all these things together, I basically could build the Nomad Escape. Because if you say you did it only in 3 years, I think if you look at the Nomad Escape, it's a good combination of where all my passions come together. Have you ever heard of the Ikigai principle?
Yes. I had the book. Yeah, I read the
Yeah,
book
and the
actually.
book, indeed. And based on the book, so basically the book explains a methodology to you, like, to combine all the things that what you're good at, what do you love to do, and what can you make money with, and that in the center, that's your Ikigai, that's your magic, right? And I applied that methodology into like, okay, when I was working as a digital marketer in Bali, finding out I'm becoming a little bit like isolated and lonely, and I really missed my passion, really for people and education. And then I noted everything down. I was like, okay, the concept of the Nomad Escape basically comes in there, because it is education. Basically, it's a business and network retreats where I facilitate workshops. Then it has to do with personal development and growth, mindset, which is my passion and which I'm good at. And then it also has to do with travel, lifestyle, marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, and all these aspects in what I already have experience in my previous life and career, I could combine now in one. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I wouldn't have this specific career path that I would be so good in what I'm doing today. Yeah.
Course, because you put together different skills that you learned in random ways, because you weren't planning at the beginning to learn about traveling, learning about working by yourself and being a full-time entrepreneur. You weren't planning about where you are right now. You just put together everything that you learned, and then you combine it to create a product at the end, because
Yeah.
your retreats and your company in general is a product, and
Yeah.
you combine everything in that product. Is that what you would suggest to everyone who wants to become a digital nomad? I mean, would you suggest to work on a specific strategy, or instead look at your past, look what you will know how to do, your experience, your skills, and then pack it together to something, a service, a product? What would
Mhm.
you suggest to someone like that?
Um, I think it is very tricky to say, like, or to teach people really like how to become a digital nomad, because I think there's a big misunderstanding about like what is a digital nomad, because digital nomad itself is not a job. How I see it, it's a lifestyle, right? So you travel around, you're able to work location independent, and within that, me personally, but as different opinions about that, I have seen different segments. It's people who work remotely, so employees for a company who that the boss says, okay, you can travel around, you can be wherever, I don't care as long as you do your job. Or you are self-employed, you're a freelancer. So basically, you as an individual deliver services to other business owners or other individuals who need that specific services. Or you are an entrepreneur or business owners, and that is someone who builds systems and builds a team towards a common goal. So let's say the Nomad Escape is a company because I work with different people in the team and we host a business retreats. Let's say that I would be only hired by other companies to facilitate workshops, and I could be mostly like as a freelancer, and they hire Michelle.
Of
And
course.
now people apply for the Nomad Escape. So I think what is very important is to see first at like, okay, um, if your main goal is being just location independent, right? So you don't have per se a passion or a big vision, like I want to build a company. But if you say I want to be first of all location independent, develop a skill that you can do easily from the laptop, right? And maybe you already have a job that allows you to work already behind the laptop. Maybe not. Like I didn't have that as a teacher, basically an educator. I was physically working with people, so I taught myself how to offer digital marketing services. But first of all, you need to have a skill that you can do anywhere from the laptop. Then it would help, of course, if you like to do what you're doing. It's just way more sustainable on the long run. I have a lot of people in Nomad Escape who are working, for example, remotely for a company, but don't really like what they're doing. And traveling around the world, they have that freedom, but they miss the purpose. They miss, the drive, like being energized in the morning, like, oh, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna build my business. I'm gonna create this amazing product. They don't have that. So I see with a lot of people who do that and don't do it from a position that they really love their job, they become even more isolated. Because normally you're a part of a team, now you're not anymore, like physically, and now you're also doing something that you don't love in an environment where you are maybe disconnected from people. But that depends a bit how you do it. So first of all, you need a skill. That's very important. And then also, like, like do you have what it takes basically to build an own business, to find clients? If you would be a freelancer, for example, can you sell? Do you know how to make money? How do you know how to reach people? Or are you more someone like, hey, I like to support another business as an employee? So I think these are three things we need to look at, like work for a company, work self-employed, or work as a business owner and develop skills within there, basically.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Actually, I want to ask you a question that I receive a lot of times when I talk about the same things that
Mhm.
you just shared. When I say to someone, look, if you want to be financially or at least location independent and want to become financially independent in the past and in the future, you need to find a set of skills that you have that you can use wherever you are. So you have to find a kind of service that you give to someone, or a kind of product that you can deliver, or a kind of thing that you can help people with, that you can deliver everywhere you are. And when I
Yes.
talk about this, usually people tell me, but I don't have any skills. I have my job, I've been in my job for 10, 15 years, and I wouldn't know what to do apart from my job. This is the only thing that I know how to do. So what would you say to these people? What is your answer?
You do have skills. We all have skills, and we all have expertise and life experiences. So let's say I'm a teacher, right? I studied to work with school dropouts. I worked with children in Amsterdam with behavioral problems and that couldn't live at home anymore due to certain circumstances. So then you would say, like, what skills do I have? Can I do marketing? No. Can I work really with a computer? No. But what skills do I have? I am good in working with people. I'm good in group dynamics. I am good in telling a story and creating group dynamics. So I thought, like, when before I started to Nomad Escape, and from the Ikigai, okay, what am I good at? And what do I like to do? Luckily, these two things are the same for me, right? For everyone is different, but like, I love to work with people, and I'm good at working with people, and I know how to bring them value, and I know how to bring the right people together, building really a community. So whatever you do, like, let's say that you are working for a company. I just say something randomly. You work for a bank, right? Or maybe for the public sector, for the government somewhere, and you think, okay, what can I do? But think of all the things that you do within a day, every activity, from client contact to working with your colleagues to whatever you do on the computer, whatever it may be within the job that you have. There's always something, that you can apply in a different way. Maybe you're solving a lot of problems, like, let's say you work physically on as a receptionist, and you need to deal with the people who enter the building and receive them, or you have an angry customer. How do you deal with that? You can solve problems. You know about customer service. You know about sales, basically, because you are the representative of the company. So there's always something within what we do on a daily basis, but we don't realize until we really map it out, or when someone says it to you. And that's also another thing. You can ask your colleagues or your friends, for example, like, hey, what do you think that I'm good at? Where and what field do I really stand out? And you will hear amazing results, like, oh, you're really good in, I don't know, like, organizing, I don't know, like, amazing events you don't even know, but you are the party maker in your team at the office in the government, for example. Like, wow, super cool. Like, I'm a, like, I can be a trendsetter, I can be an event organizer. Yeah, I think it's like, when you're stuck in a certain mindset, it's very hard to see what you're actually good at. But when you step back, ask feedback of others, and really map it out, we all have magic. And yeah, we're all unique. And I think, like, the world needs a lot of, unique services, offerings. And yeah, you can find your sparkle 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that there is room for everyone. Sometimes we stop ourselves or we don't look at what we can teach because we think that, first of all, we are not an expert in what we can teach or what we can deliver. We think that we're not an expert. We think that we need to be an amazing expert in that area to be able to help someone with that field.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we just don't stop thinking, we don't start thinking about all the skills we have and all the things we can help people with. It would be really interesting to have, I don't know, probably there is already a website that does this, but to have a website that put down all the history of researches or searches that we've done with Google. Right, we get on
Mm,
Google. What is the first thing that we do when we have a problem? We want to fix something, or we want to know something more about a specific
yeah.
thing. We get on Google, right? So we search.
Yeah.
And if you think about all the things that you search on Google, you understand that you are interested in so many things. And there is always something that you find on Google. There is always an article about that. There is always a video about that. The reason is because there is a person behind that article or behind that video who understood that that kind of knowledge could be monetizable, could
Mm-hmm.
be profitable. So that's
Exactly.
why they created an article. That's why they created a podcast, or they created a channel on YouTube. This is the reason. But we never start thinking about what we can help people with. We never think
Yeah.
about that. We just think that we have no skills, we have no experience, we have no knowledge. So it's not going to be something that we can do. But it would be great once in a while to have a brainstorming and think about things that we actually know. We
Yeah.
have a lot of skills, we have a lot of knowledge. We just don't think about it.
Exactly. There's
So
actually,
totally agree with you.
if I may share, there's a really good book on that, which I read, and I can highly recommend for anyone who would like to start their own business, maybe online, based on passion or their own knowledge. And it's Expert Secrets from Russell Branson. And he explains, and it's mostly like on online courses or ebooks or whatever services, actually. But he explains that everyone, indeed, like you said, is an expert in their field. So I think even like he explains, I think, an example, even something about like goldfish or something like that, something very random. But the person who was also expert in, like, let's say raising goldfish or something like that, they went on Google indeed, and there is a website that you can search the keywords, like what are people searching for, and I think it's called As the Public, or
Yes.
As the Audience. So let's say I work with entrepreneurs or I work with digital nomads, right? So I want to know what are the most burning questions of people. If I type in that website, okay, digital nomads, then I see a whole map of, okay, what do people want to know? Okay, where do digital nomads pay taxes? What kind of jobs? How do they deal with loneliness? How do they find housing? All these things. What do they? How much money do they make? So for me, this helps as well, because I indeed create content around that, around these questions, blog posts, videos, etc., to give people some value, And yeah, there are some steps. I think the Expert Secrets and that website As the Public is a really good way to start.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great website. That's a great
yeah,
website. Also, if you want to find another way, just look at, when you get on a blog, you can see the most popular articles, right? Or when
yeah,
you visit a channel on YouTube, you can see the videos that are getting more views. And this is all the information that you need. If you want to know what is really popular right now, what is really trendy right now, what people are searching for, just look at what is already working. If you see an article that is in the column of the most popular articles for that blog, it's because that specific title, that specific topic is really popular. People are looking for it. They need
yeah,
help with that. Same
exactly.
thing with YouTube, same thing with anything else on the web. I think that we need to study. This is something that I learned when I started my YouTube channel. If you want to do something, for sure you're not a big expert about it. Maybe you know something about that thing, but learning is a work in progress. So let's assume that I want to learn how to train a dog just because I have a dog. I know something about this, but I'm not an expert. Well, I can learn. I need to work on my education. I need to learn. I need to find information that I don't have right now and knowledge that I still don't have. And it's like going to school or going to the university. You first get an education and then you become an expert with that field. And then you can create a business around that. So it's not rocket science at the end. And right now I'm talking just about knowledge. But as you said, Michelle, when I started doing this job and I started being a digital nomad, I got in touch with a lot of other digital nomads. And there are so many ways to be location independent. There is not a single way. You don't
Mm.
need to create an online course and selling it. It's not the only way to go. There are people that are making money and making profit with affiliate marketing. There are people that are organizing events like you. There are people who connect entrepreneurs and experts together. There are so many things that you can do. Like, you just need to find out a way that clicks with you and then work for it, because there is nothing that from tomorrow I'm going to be a digital nomad just like that. You have to work for it. You have to learn how to do it. So
Yes.
it's like everything else.
Exactly. And I think, like, if you really want it, what really helped me, I started my digital nomad journey basically in Australia. But then I realized I started before I even knew that I would ever build a Nomad Escape. I started events, and I called it, like, I am hosting events for people who work online like me. I never heard about the word digital nomad then. I didn't know about it. I just posted in Facebook groups in backpacker, because I came into the backpacker um, environment. Basically, I was a traveler to in Australia, so the only community that I knew were backpackers when I came there. So I started posting in backpacker Facebook groups like, hey, I'm looking for other people who are also working online, maybe freelancers. Do you want to get together and start, like, work on our laptop and share ideas, etc. Because I was very done with backpackers around me. They were only partying, and I love to party as well, still. But I was very focused on learning new skills, finding clients, building my business, etc. And so I didn't align with these type of travelers anymore. So I didn't even know about digital nomad then, and I started organically doing it because I had that struggle myself and I enjoyed it, basically. And yeah, I think if you have, like, and that's also a good thing, like you say, like, anyone is a little bit of an expert in something. You're always a bit better than someone else in something, and you can expand that skill. But another way of doing it is solving a problem. Because if you deal with a problem yourself, right? And you solve that for yourself, you can help other people also with doing that. And that is actually, I think, the easiest and the best way maybe of doing it, because you don't even have to do really research on your target audience, what they need. So let's say that I don't know, I choose architects as my target audience, and I want to build houses for architects because they don't have an architect or whatever. I don't know anything about architects. I don't know their needs. I don't know their markets. But I do know about people like me who travel around the world, who value community, who value coming together and entrepreneurship and freedom, etc. So it's like, hey, if I'm gonna create something for people like me, I know exactly what they need. Easy, right? So yeah, I just came that came very naturally, and plus the fact that I studied education and worked a lot in yeah, with group dynamics, and I trained a lot of teams also. It's like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. I can combine all these aspects together, where I can be fully myself, fully do what I love, and really give value to people.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so something that I didn't say at the beginning of this conversation, guys. If
Hmm.
you're watching this and you have any questions, anything you want to ask Michelle, just putting in the comments. We're going live on different platforms, but wherever you are, I will be able to see your comments and we can address those questions straight away. So feel free to put your questions there, or just write your opinions or feedback on the chat, so we can have a conversation with the people watching at the same time. Michelle, I wanted to try a practical example. So
Hmm.
let's pick someone who is in a 95, someone who doesn't know anything, like the kind of person we were talking about, someone who doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to do it, but the only thing that he wants to do or she wants to do is to be location independent. Okay,
Hmm.
find a job that this person can do anywhere she can.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what would your advice be for someone who is working right now in a 9 to 5 to be location independent? What are the different steps that you would go through?
Yeah, if you really just want to apply for or have a location independent job and working for a company, first, if you already have a job and you're okay with the job, maybe discuss with your manager or with your boss. Is it possible to work location independent? Maybe they're very flexible. I know that a lot of companies now, after the pandemic, they went partly remotely. So I have also a lot of friends who are allowed, for example, to be 3 weeks out of the office, and then 1 week a month they have to be in the office. So if you're okay with that, you know, like let's say you live in the Netherlands, I'm from the Netherlands, and you work for a bank, and the bank says, okay, three weeks a month you can be away. You can easily fly to Madeira Island, for example, where I am, and also go back. I had, for example, another lady joining us. She signed up last week for the Nomad Escape, and she's a hairdresser. With her, it's a little bit different. She has her own hair salon for the last 17 years, so she's a business owner, small business she has, and she wants to be location independent. So she wants to go now into affiliate marketing and online courses for beauty and for hair and fashion. But she doesn't want to lose her clients in the Netherlands. So what she's going to do, she's going to actually fly every month, basically, to Madeira to stay here 3 weeks, and 1 week a month she goes back to cut all her clients. So if you have that opportunity, you can do that. If you cannot do that with your current employer, then you can just start searching for remote jobs. You can just Google remote jobs, and you have different platforms and job portals like remote.io, I think, Indeed. There's different platforms where you can just find remote positions. The only thing that you need to look at is like, where are you based? Let's say that you are a European citizen, then it's not always allowed, I think, to work for American company. Other way around, the legalities can be different per country also, and where you travel to. So you need to check that. But there's tons of remote jobs now. I think maybe even more just in the online portals these days than the regular jobs. Yeah,
It's true. It's true.
yeah,
Something that we never think about is what you said about talking with your employer and see if there is a way to keep working for the same company but being remotely.
yeah,
Especially right now after the pandemic, a lot of companies, they are going that way. Like they're more flexible with their employees. They are leaving their employees to work from somewhere else because they understood that employees are more productive in this way
Yeah.
and they're happier with the job they do. So that's an option. And it could be a start, even if
Yeah.
you want to change your field and you want to create a business in something else, something that you're passionate about, a hobby or passion you have, that could be a start.
Yeah.
For me, for example, I started working as a freelancer, working in web design. So I used to work as a web designer for a big company, and then I decided to go solo, and I started working for clients. And I realized that it was way easier to find clients all around the world, looking for clients all around the world, instead of restricting myself to my city,
Yeah.
fighting with a lot of other people, with a lot of competition for the same position in that specific city, because you're restricting the area and you are competing with a lot of other people that are applying for the same position. And instead, if you decide to work with clients everywhere around the world, you have, a bigger area, you have a lot more possibilities and smaller competition to
Yeah.
fight with. So I moved from being a web designer for a company, I became a freelancer working with design, and on my spare time, I started working on my business, the business that I have right now, that is about
Hmm.
marketing. So you
Yes.
can go for steps. You don't have to change completely black to white, just like that. You can just take steps if you have a strategy, obviously,
Hmm.
and you can do what you said. It makes sense. You can talk with your employer and see if it's possible to just be more flexible with your time, and then in your spare time working on something else.
Yeah.
So
For
I,
example.
I totally agree. And as you said, there are so many positions out there for remote workers. It's really, really, really
Yeah.
full of positions for this kind of
Yes.
people.
And I think as well would be really helpful. Like if you really want to go into this direction, whatever your plan is, working remotely for a company or traveling the world as a freelancer, or maybe starting your online remote business, is surrounding yourself with people who are already doing it. Because when I, for example, was in the Netherlands and I'm trying to develop, my mindset and my skill set all alone by myself in my apartment, that was so hard for me to understand because I watch all these YouTube videos like, oh, how do people make money online? That's the first thing people Google, right? If they really don't understand this whole world of working online, traveling the world, how to make money online, and then you see crypto and you see this, and then you get like, wow, this is like, it's a mystery how people do that. But when I decided to go to Australia and then to Bali, because I really missed the right people around me, and I knew that Bali was, at the end, I found out the word digital nomad. I went to the digital nomad capital at that moment. Then suddenly you're in between those people, and then you see what people are doing. And I think when you surround yourself with the right people and people who are already living the lifestyle or doing the thing that you want to do or that you think you want to do, your journey will go way faster because there you can directly, like, now people are watching us, of course, talking, and they get some information, but then you are physically with the people on the meetup. You can ask them, hey, what do you exactly do? How do you make money? How do you find clients? How did you do that? And by hearing all these like really practical examples, you get way more inspiration, and you will fast forward, like within your journey. Plus, what the cool thing is, I think, is also when I started doing that, so many people who live this lifestyle are so helpful. They really, they value community, they value support. So when I share that, people are like, oh, it's so cool. Hey, don't you want to work with me? I'm looking for a marketer. So I started getting hired by people who happened to be there, and I shared my story. So that is also where the magic happens. Also, when people join the Nomad Escape, people start hiring each other. A lot of freelancers get hired there by business owners, people who have a company. And then we have even other freelancers who get together and say, hey, let's build an agency together. Or people who are quitting like I hired, like yesterday actually, a girl who quit her job, and I hired her for TikTok yesterday. So that is kind of like the magic that can happen when you surround yourself with the right people, because your mindset opens, your network opens, and opportunities open. So you really speed up instead of like searching online for months, like what can I do? Like, just go to the place where these people are.
Yeah, networking, community,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely important. We can talk a little more about this later. I can see that there is a comment. There is a
Hmm.
question. So I will try to put it on the screen. Let's see if it works. Wow, magic technology.
Wow, I love it.
So, if you want, you can reply to this question. So, it's basically about taxes, right?
Mhm,
So, how do you handle personal business taxes if you are more than a solopreneur? How do
mhm,
you avoid potentially very expensive mistakes when you are in multiple jurisdictions per year?
mhm.
Maybe this is something that you can help with, Michelle.
Sure. Yes. Well, I need to put a disclaimer, of course, like I'm not a lawyer or a financial advisor. I can explain from my experience how I do it. So you have two type of taxes indeed, personal and corporate taxes. Corporate taxes you pay in the country where your business is incorporated. Personal taxes you pay in in the country where you are resident. So officially, you have to be a resident somewhere. Some digital nomads think, and I thought that also at the beginning, I'm just gonna unregister from the Netherlands. I'm just gonna travel the world. No one cares, and like, ooh, it's my choice. But the fact is, you're gonna get a lot of struggles and problems indeed, and I think that's why I get this question. For me, how I handled that, because I had a lot of questions as well. I checked, okay, which countries are there that have like special regulations for remote workers, digital nomads, or people with foreign companies. I live currently in Portugal. I live on Madeira Island, and Madeira has benefits, tax benefits for digital nomads or people who work remotely. And then you have different benefits. So if you are um, working for a company or you're self-employed as a foreigner coming here as a tax resident, there's a flat rate of 20% on personal tax. So let's say like I am a freelancer, but my freelance business basically, or my solo business is registered, let's say in the Netherlands. I I pay here the taxes, flat rate 20%, and I pay corporate tax in the Netherlands. But for me, for example, I have a business. Basically, my company is registered in the United Kingdom, and I'm tax resident in Portugal. And there's a benefit that if you have a business, you can pay yourself dividends out as a business owner. So not a salary, dividends. And dividends are 0% taxed in Portugal. So I pay now 19% tax on my profits in the UK. And then basically, when I pay myself these profits out, then it's not again taxed in Portugal. Because in a lot of countries, you need to pay then extra like dividend tax or personal income tax. I don't have to do that. But
Nice.
it's every like
Love it.
it's very, I want to be really like careful with this, because again, I'm not an accountant or a lawyer. There's a lot of like confusions about that, but there are so many countries in the world now who apply these regulations. They try to attract more remote workers because they see this is the future. So yeah, if people have questions, please reach out to me. I work with tax lawyers who are specialists in this field, and this is also always a topic that is discussed within our events, and the people give each other advice. But this construction that I have now for myself works really great. I recently did my tax return. I paid in the UK, and I did my tax return in Portugal. Then was also at the beginning like, oh, did I maybe make a mistake? It's too good to be true. But I didn't have to pay any tax here of my dividends, so that was great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that the user, I can't see your name unfortunately, but I hope that LinkedIn user, I'm going to call him like that, is happy with the answer. And I agree with you. It's always better to talk with someone who is an expert. I mean, we were talking about expertise. We can't be experts in everything. So you should talk with someone who is a financial advisor or someone who has an expertise with this. And, right now that working remotely is so common. Now you have a lot of people you can work with. And by the way, just reach out to Michelle. She has the connections. We were talking about community and connecting with the right people so she can actually lead you to the right person. All right. So regarding this, actually, I have a question that is connected to this question that we just had. Let's talk about location. So finally, I'm a remote worker. Okay, I can
Mhm.
work from wherever I want. I have my laptop. I can do it. So what would you suggest about the location? Like, where should I go? You talked a little about this with this question. Like you talked about taxes, and so how can I find the right place where to go?
Yeah. So it depends if you just want to travel, if you say like, and how fast you want to travel, right? So like if you just want to be 2 weeks in a country or a month, there is no actual effect on your taxes. So let's say I am from the Netherlands and I have my business there and I'm a resident there. So like the traditional setup, and I say like, hey, but I want to travel around the world. It is possible basically, but I think like every country has different rules. So if you're longer away than 4 months outside of the country, you officially need to let them know, and the situation changes basically. But let's say you are able to travel, then you need to decide on like, okay, do you want to be a fast traveler or do you want to be a slow traveler? I know nomads who travel fast, or maybe a week or 2 weeks within a country, because they want to see as many things as possible. Like they want to check off like, oh, I visited, I don't know, 80 countries. I want to see this and I want to see those natural highlights. But you can also do slow traveling, for example, that you are for a month up to 3 months, or if your visa allows it, longer within a country to really, like experience the country really as what it is. Because when you fast travel, you see mostly only the tourist things and it goes very quick. When you combine that with traveling, it's going to be very exhausting. If you're really focusing on, for example, like developing a certain skill or trying to attract new clients or really building a business, constantly moving from place to place can be like totally distracting, very very exhausting. So that is first what you need to figure out, like what do you want? Do you want to see as many places as possible, or do you really want to experience the country, build up deeper relationships, and really focus on your business? If you like, say, the first option, you want to see as much as possible, just whatever you like. What do you like? Do you want to see nature? Do you want to see culture? Are you a beach person? Are you a mountain person? That's up to you. If you are more the slow traveler, um, then it's also, of course, the natural environment that you prefer you can go to. But I would highly recommend like go to places where there's a big digital nomad community. Because as we start this conversation, and why the Nomad Escape is built, is that like, let's say you go to a country and you go to, I just say something randomly, a very unknown beautiful place in Turkey, and you arrive there with your laptop all by yourself. There's no one doing what you're doing, and you're really in between the local community, which is great. You can learn a lot about culture, etc. But it is pretty hard to connect with the people there. You don't speak the language, they don't understand your lifestyle, you don't understand them. So how are you gonna, infuse? And then sometimes it is nice to talk with someone like you, but if those people are not around, yeah, then you're sitting there in your Airbnb and like, okay, why? How did I end up here, right? So I would highly recommend to do research on, okay, where are a lot of digital nomad communities? I think Lisbon is really known for it. Like Madeira is pretty big. You have Bali. You have in Croatia is also growing at the moment. I think even in Albania they're building. Spain, you have different digital nomad locations. There's a lot at the moment. You can just Google it. You have also a website which is called Nomad List, and there is even ranked on like what are the most popular digital nomad destinations in the world, and they ranked on different prices of your accommodations. How affordable is it? How hot is it weather-wise? How safe is it? How fast is the Wi-Fi, etc. So you need to think about, okay, which things are important for you? Is it community? Is it nature? Is it city? Just write those down and then do online research on where are those places, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And the good thing about being remote or working remotely is the fact that you can choose when to travel. Maybe you want to live in another place and you want to move to Madeira as you did, or maybe you want to just travel every now and then, or you just want to have the flexibility.
Hmm.
So for me, it's been like a journey. So at the beginning, I had the possibility to travel. So I was traveling and working at the same time. And then little by little, I realized that what I enjoyed was the fact that I can decide when to go somewhere.
Yes.
I don't want to be in a single place, like just because I want to be on the beach, working on the beach. I want to have the possibility to do that. So whenever I want to go to Italy to see my family, or go to Bali, or go for a holiday, or go to find a friend somewhere else, I can do it. Like I don't
Yeah.
have to talk with my boss. I don't have to find out how many holidays I have. it's way flexible, and you can decide how to work with that. Either you want to travel full time, or you want to live in another country, or you want to just have the flexibility. Like you have basically, you can live the way you want. It's not, there is not a
Exactly.
single way to be a digital nomad. But this leads us to what we covered before, like community and connection. I love what you do, because you give actually something that we need as digital nomads, as entrepreneurs. Because you said many times in this interview, you said that if you're alone and you feel lonely, you're gonna you're gonna hate this life. If you're the only person going on with your company or working remotely, you're gonna end up hating this life, because you will feel lonely and you feel completely detached from the world. So it's important to have a community, and it's important to meet other people that are like you. You will feel less lonely, you will have connections, and from these connections, who knows what's going to start, collaborations, working together, new clients, customers. So it's really important to have this kind of community. So that's why I really love what you do. So I wanted to ask you a little more about the events that you organize, because I'm sure that the people watching, they're interested. I know that there is a
Mm.
big event coming up shortly. So tell us about what you do and why it's important to join your events and connect with other entrepreneurs.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, what I do is I select people with common interests and common lifestyle and mindsets together to support each other in our personal and professional journeys. And we have three different type of events at the moment, or actually four if we include the online events as well. But let's say we talk about the offline events. Um, First of all, what we are most known for is our signature Nomad Escape retreat, which we call the Level Up Business Club. That's a week-long program where a small group comes together, about 15 people, a pretty intimate setting, to brainstorm about business ideas, business challenges, sharing skills, sharing knowledge, sharing network through different workshops, basically. And the week is built up that we really work in it's a holistic approach in every aspect of your life we will take care of. So every morning we start with a physical exercise. So that can be a high intensity training with boxing, like really push-up squats and like quite army style, quite hardcore, or yoga, meditation, breath work, to really stretch the body. And then we have the breakfast together, and then we're going to do different workshops. And one of the most famous workshops that we host, and a lot of people come online also for that, is our mastermind session. And the mastermind session is basically a peer-to-peer mentoring session where everyone can be in the hot seat. And when you're in the hot seat, you can share a business idea, a question, a challenge, anything that you would like to get fresh perspectives on or support on, to be able to move forward, right? So that can be business related questions, but it can also be personal related questions that keep you stagnant in the situation where you are right now. So we all work on our challenges during that week. And the cool thing is you will get a lot of inspiration because people directly help you, but also all these other people are there with a certain question, and by helping them and seeing how other people help them, you will also learn from that. So through every mastermind, when someone else is in the hot seat, you will also hear things that are applicable to you that you never thought of. And that is kind of like where the magic happens. You get advices that you would never think of, or from people that you would never call for any advice because they have a certain profession or a certain lifestyle. So that is the really cool thing. So it's really focused on growth. And after that week, basically, like we set goals. Then after 1 week, we combine the people in basically teams, so that they check in on each other, like how's growth. And after 1 month, we have a power call, a catch-up call, where we say, okay, so what have you been doing in the last month? What was your question during the retreat together? What actions did you already take? And what do you still need to get ahead in your journey? What or whom, right? Who can help you here? And that is actually, like that whole week gives so much inspiration, and it builds the foundation for a great network. But the real magic really happens after, because after, the people who really get along and really want to work together, they will reach out together, and the journey continues. But then after that month, when we jump on a call, then I ask them, like, okay, what have you actually been doing since that month? And then people say, oh, not so much happened. And I help them through a workshop narrowing it down, like, fuck, I did a lot actually. I did so much, right? And we help them seeing that progress. Because also, like when you're building stuff, sometimes you're so in it, you have such a tunnel vision, and you don't realize that you're doing really incredible things, and that you already found a new client, or that you already built a new product, or already, I don't know, you had that tough conversation with your partner about that you want to travel and he or she doesn't, whatever it may be, right? So yeah, we really help each other seeing growth, and connecting each other with a network. And then besides that, we have also the Nomad Fests, basically. That is actually a bigger event, around 100 people. And you would say it's like a big retreat or like a mini unconference. So it's really an experience. We don't want to have like a boring conference where you just come into a space and networking cards and suits and all these things, very formal. No, we create magic. When you arrive, there's a welcome ceremony. Depends on where we do it in the world, but we even have like shamans and people with glitter welcoming you and making a whole thing for you. Then when you arrive, like, what the F is happening and what world am I stepping in? Because we really believe doing business can also be fun. And we're striving towards a certain lifestyle, right? So we would just want to do the opposite of, standard business conferences. It is still business minded. We still talk about money. We still talk about mindset, marketing, growing your business, scaling, but also being the most true version of yourself. Because I've been working a lot in corporate, and I cut my hair off, I had my nails on and my high heels on, and being very formal and shaking hands. And I found out I cannot be fully myself. And now, since I'm doing that, I don't know why, I'm just like really myself, and I've never been this successful. And that is really what we help people to find that spark within themselves, to build these connections on a deeper level so that you can do business in a more long term. So the bigger events are still very intimate, but of course a bit, yeah, bigger group. So the experience is very different in sense of space. So we're going to have like expert speakers, where we do in the smaller retreats, we do peer-to-peer mentoring and skill shares within the group. There we hire speakers, we bring them on stage, or partners who are going to talk about topics regarding to mindset, marketing, money, health, wealth, mostly that, business scaling, etc., team building, all the topics that are interesting basically for our target audience, to help them, expand in a personal and professional way. And then it's also like combined, like really, like we bring in DJs, we have a lot of parties, we're going to do outdoor exploring, a lot of jeeps around the islands. We have a lot of surprise acts, and then we put also a lot of attention into the details. We even have our own economy when we Nomad Escape. We print our own money. So maybe that's where the inflation is coming from at the moment. I'm making a joke, but we're printing our own money. And what we do basically in the Nomad Escape, we want to motivate people there to really bring value to each other. We don't want people to come in and just only taking information from other people. No, we want to say, like Alessandro, if you say like, hey, I'm building my business, I want to reach that market, and I'm listening to you, I'm like, okay, within my network, there's 3 people that really can help you. I want, me as an organizer, I want the others to want to help the others. So what we do, let's say we would be together in the event, and I hear that, and I was like, listen, you need to talk to these 3 people. And you say, Michelle, this is brilliant. I always want to work, I just say them, with the real estate market. This is great. Here, I give you 50,000 Nomad coins. So everyone gets 150,000 Nomad coins. And based on the value that you get from the other person, you pay the other person. So the whole goal is there, people start competing on giving each other value, because with that money, with that monopoly money basically, but with that money, you can win a free Nomad Escape of value of between 2,000 and 3,000 euros, which is great, of course. So yeah, we gamify the whole experience. Like it's a lot of fun. You can be fully yourself. We integrate also a lot of spirituality. We always want you to do things that you've never done before. So we're going to do different types of dance, movement, even spiritual sessions like cacao ceremonies, breath work. And then people say like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm ready for that. And then they experience that like, wow, this helps me with being focused on my business and having a healthy mindset. So yeah, it's a very holistic approach, covered in a very energetic uh, jacket with like a bunch of awesome people who all have the same mindset and we're really willing to help each other.
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. So, if
Mm.
anyone here wants to know a little more about the next event, next retreat, or the next big event that you're doing, where can they find you?
Well, if they are now on Facebook or LinkedIn, they can see me, see my profile probably there, so you can just reach out to me there. But my name is Michelle Maree, so you can also Google me. But we have an Instagram account where we're the most active, which is called the Nomad Escape. But then also on LinkedIn and Facebook. Our website is thenomadescape.com. You can find us there. But when you Google us, 100% you will find us. There's so much stuff online about us, and also reach out to our existing community members, like what did they already get out of us. We have also the online community where we yesterday, for example, did an online mastermind and people already started building businesses there. So someone last week in from LinkedIn joined, not even last week, 3 days ago, and yesterday he closed a deal with someone within our escapers club and they have now a business.
Wow.
So that is the whole purpose of this. It's like really informal networking, I would say, and expanding your mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that someone understand the power of networking just when that person starts doing it. Like
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was so important to surround yourself with the right people and always create connections with collaborators, with other people that may not be in your same field, but anyway, they can share something with you or they can know someone who will become a great connection with you. Like I wasn't aware of that until I joined the first networking event. When I joined
Yeah.
my first networking event, I understood that in 1 hour, I could create connections that I wouldn't be able to create in 3, 4, 5 months online. It's so
Yes.
powerful because it happens all at the same time. And you're connected with people that are action takers actually because they are
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
It's not that random people. They are there because they are action takers. They are committed, they are
Yeah.
focused in what they want to do. So they are ready to network and to take action with new collaborations, new. So it makes a lot of sense. It's really powerful. If you guys listening and watching this, you've never been to an event like this, I strongly suggest you, and this is what I do actually, to at least once per year go to one of these big events. Like reach out to Michelle, find out when is the next big event if you want to reach the big event or if you want to join the smaller one. But at least once per year, join a group of people you can connect with because you would see how powerful it is. Once per year minimum, at least do it 2 times, 3 times per year if you have the possibility, because it's really powerful to grow your business. It's really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're gonna find your website. I searched it on Google just to be sure that it was the first the first result, and actually it's the first result. If you look for Nomad Escape, the first one you're gonna find is your website, Michelle.
Thank you.
So people
Thank
watching
you.
here, they're not gonna have a problem to find you. All
Yes.
right. So we went on for 1 hour. Is
Hmm.
there anything else you want to add? Advice, tips, anything before we close this conversation? Anything you want to drop there to the people watching?
Yes, actually, two things. First of all, if you are tapping into the digital nomad lifestyle or if you want to make it work, it can be scary at the beginning, of course, because there's a lot of uncertainty. But if you really want this, really reach out to people who are already doing it because it will really speed up your process so much and you start understanding things so much and you will have a lot of fun. And then don't be afraid to make mistakes or to fail, because everyone, like, you will see the people online and you think, oh, they're so successful or they have so much experience. Everyone started somewhere. When I started 3-4 years ago, I had no clue how to talk in front of the camera. Now I'm selling through Instagram stories, actually, right? So it is very, very important that you just like put yourself out there and do all the things that are scary, that you think is scary, because that is where the magic happens. When you are a little bit scared, that means that you're growing. If you're always like this, you feel safe, you're stagnant. It's fine if that doesn't bother you. But if you want to grow and if you really want to have a certain lifestyle or business or hang with certain people, do the things that scare you, that will really, really help you. Then second, I would like to announce the date for my next event. It can be maybe interesting for the people. And so our next event is going to be in November. So in November, from the 24th until the 30th of November, we have the Level Up Business Club. We already have 14 people signed up for the smaller business, the intimate business retreat. And directly the week after, we have from the 1st until the 7th of December, the Nomad Island Fest. And Nomad Island Fest is the bigger event with the bigger festivities, like famous speakers talking about course creation, about how to build $1 million business, how to scale your company through having the right COO, Web3, crypto, all these topics that are now very hot. That one is from the 1st until 7th of December. And it's both on Madeira Island. And Madeira Island is like now a super booming digital nomad destination in the world. And it's truly, I traveled around the world. I chose to live here. This is now my base. And from here, I travel. You know, I'm a slow mat. They call it a slow traveler. It's truly one of the most beautiful places I've seen in the entire world. I've traveled everywhere in the world, but this place, they say it's kind of like the European Hawaii, and it's the flower island. And everywhere where you go, you see the most stunning, beautiful mountains, waterfalls, you have forests, you can be literally above the clouds. You know, like when you drive half an hour with your car, you're like standing, like what you see in the plane, you can stand on a mountain and see that, and you drive down and you can jump into the ocean. And you have literally everything. So it's a great way to spend winter and have like the most amazing way to close down 2022 and really open like a lot of new doors for 2023 in paradise, actually. Yeah.
Nice. That was a perfect advertising promotion of Madeira. It was perfect. All right, really. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely
Madeira
gonna
is
be
really
there.
great. I love it. Yeah, I mean it. Or else I would not live here. That's how simple it is. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
You could pick a place where to live. So you pick the one that you
Yeah,
like the most, right? So it
exactly.
makes sense.
Exactly.
Well, guys watching now, you know where you should be for the next months. Just look for Michelle on Google, search for the Nomad Escape, look for the next events, November and December, if you want to join them. Absolutely. And for the rest, guys, remember to, wherever you are right now, I don't know where you're watching this, if you are on my YouTube channel, if you are on LinkedIn, or if you are on Facebook, well, give a follow to me and Michelle, because in my case, I keep doing this kind of interview every week. And if you want to be in touch with Michelle and what's happening in the Nomad Escape, well, give her a follow, give her, send a friend request or anything to be in touch with her. Remember, connections. You need to connect with the right people. So,
Yes.
Michelle, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here, for accept my invite to be in this interview. It was amazing. A lot of great content. I can see that people are super happy here. They wrote some comments like this one. I like this
Mhm.
feature in this software.
That's really
So
cool.
people are happy. So
Great.
I'm happy too. Thank you very
Yeah.
much again, Michelle.
Thank you.
We're gonna have maybe another interview in the future, but for now, thanks so much, and I'll see you the next time.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a great